Yeah, it was a tale of two halves, but we back in the winner's circle, baby. That's right. Raj Groves believe in Chelsea FC. And we had a starting 11 switch that I think we all can agree on. We'll get back to that in a minute. Another starter from the starting 11 that may have hit rock bottom. Damn. And the return of an old boss. Yep. Old boss. Old Chelsea boss. That's what we'll call him. Yeah, it was a return of Graham Potter to the bridge. And a fun fact for you. Did you know that Graham, before this game started, was the 9th former Chelsea boss to return to the bridge with another team? And out of the previous 8, none of them were victorious. We'll make that 9. Yeah, because Chelsea get the 2-1 victory over those Hammers. And let's start with what we saw in the starting 11. We got the big switch we all wanted to see. And if you saw the post-game match from Jock Sardelli with the LA Chelsea Blues, we did one live there. I had enough of Robert Sanchez. I mean, I'm not going to say he cost us the game, but he damn sure didn't keep Chelsea in it. And I was trying to defend Sanchez with the saves he made there and here and there, but enough. Enough is enough. The rest of the team cannot look at you as the manager, Maresca, and you rolling this dude out there. And we had Tommy Smith on, and Tommy was saying, you can't have it. Teammates would be like, no, this guy doesn't give us the best chance to lose. You're going to lose the locker room. Well, Maresca said Robert Sanchez was tired. Let me tell you something. That man been mentally tired all season long. And before this, we were worried. So, yeah, Jorgensen finally gets in between the pipes now. Do I think Jorgensen is like light and day better than Robert Sanchez? Not really. But I know one thing. He won't give me heart palpitations, right? So that was what we saw with the starting 11 right off the bat. My man C hit me up. C from LA Chelsea Blues. Like, you see the starting 11? That man was excited. He had enough. So let's start with the game then. I said a tale of two halves. So let me tell you, this first half, not only was it boring, it was frustrating as hell if you were a Chelsea fan. I'm talking no creativities. The Hammers, West Ham basically hit us defensively. The Hammers, they played a narrow and tight formation, especially in the midfield, and it forced Chelsea wide. So what did we see? Cross after cross, especially from Reece James' side, the right side. But there was no box presence. No one could take advantage of this. And outside of trying crosses, no one was taking anyone on. And who's supposed to be about Nicholas Jackson, who we know hitters aren't his strength. He was invisible. He made one nice pass, but in the first, Nicholas Jackson, invisible. And when I said in the beginning there was a starting 11 player that may have hit rock bottom, I mean, this was bad, y'all. This was bad. And we talked about Chelsea bringing in a striker. And at the time of doing this, there might be a minute or two left before the deadline. Haven't seen anything yet. So we'll get into that in a minute. But the whole team, it wasn't just Nicholas Jackson, who was just invisible, not even having chances. But when we did get chances, it was either missed or no finishes, bad finishing, where we didn't even get a shot on goal. In fact, we had no shots on target until a free kick from Palmer at the end of the half. But it was just that final third. We've seen this before from Chelsea, right? Wrong decision or just not even taking people on. It was ugly. It was bad. So whatever. I'm like, okay, it's going to be an ugly 0-0 at the half. But no, in the 41st minute, Colwell, who had a bad moment earlier, this might have been his absolutely worst game I ever seen. I know Disasi's gone now on loan, but Colwell, don't do your Disasi impression. I almost like, are you Disasi? Are you Axel? Are you Axel in disguise? I almost wanted to do that chant. He gave an absolute gift to them boys. And, of course, what they do, back of the net, bottom left hand, nothing Jorgensen can do about it. We're down 1-0 at the half, and your boy's worried. I'm worried because we know Enzo really at the half, and even not until the wee minutes of the game, doesn't make adjustments or subs. And I'm like, bro, I'm looking out here. This ain't working. First thing I wanted to see, what came out in the second half, same lineup. I'm like, oh, snaps. Here we go. But lo and behold, in the 51st minute, how many times have we seen our Blues down 1-0 and Maresca failed to make any adjustments until like the 80th minute or so when it's just too late? Nah, fam, not today. Not today. Props to you. Big ups to you, Enzo Maresca. Yeah, in the 51st minute, in comes Mark Q. You know who's coming off there? Jackson. In comes Neto. So I'm wondering who's coming off, Nani or Sancho. Well, Sancho comes off. So this is early yank, an early hook for Jackson. And there's plenty of games I've seen before, especially recently, where there should have been an early hook. All right. So thank you, Maresca. But one of those names, if it we'll get to him in a minute, big time sub Neto. But if it ain't working, don't just sit there until like 7-8 minutes left in the game, 10 minutes. And this is how bad it is at the striker situation. You is 19 with no Premier League goals. And that's who we got to turn to 51 minutes in the game. More on him in a minute. I hope he's all right. He suffered. If you saw the game, I'll just say he's slipping around. A lot of guys were losing their footing with the cleats and whatnot. You looks, he was down for a minute. I haven't seen an injury report yet, but I'd be surprised if he's ready to go on Saturday when our next game is. But anyway, I'm good with this move. Just the fact that we made an adjustment. Not only personnel, but this will change the way we play a little bit. Happy. Not long after that, another sub. Nguku comes on for Nani. So we're putting Nguku, who I say I don't like him as a true striker. He's either a 10, but yeah, we got one. So try him on the wing, maybe move Jackson to the wing, but Jackson was already gone. So Gusto also in for Reece James, who I was happy to see that because not only did he get a bit cooked and got a yellow card, and we know when James gets a yellow, another one's probably coming soon. So it was good to get his ass up off the pitch. Get off, sit down for a little while, cool down, man, cool down. So 12 minutes after coming on, I've already named you some subs. Neto equalizes, scramble up front, being an opportunist, a poacher, whatever you want to call it, sees it. And I actually saw Caicedo kind of get out the way, like, go ahead, man, you got this. Caicedo could have made a desperate attempt at the ball, but Neto equalizes. And then it's funny how one goal can change everything. Next thing we know, Palmer starts cooking. He gets in his bag. He starts creating chances. And I said earlier, it was cross after cross, no chances created. I just want to see people trying stuff. And Palmer's had a cold January. Let's face it. It was a slow and cold January. And I've talked a bit about the Palmer treatment, I call it. Not just the extra attention from defenders, but yipping at your ankles, nipping at them a little bit. And maybe he's picked up a knock in January. I think it was like 2 games ago we saw. So anyway, Palmer gets the cooking, y'all. Yeah. And we saw what he did, cross/shot. They're going to say that was an own goal. It was a deflection, of course. Yeah, no denying that. But I'm going to go ahead and give you that one, Palmer. All right. That one counts, yo. Bam. We're in the lead. And things just look different. Yeah. Neto. I mean, I'm not mad at you now. He wasn't the highest rated player, but that's because of, I guess, minutes played. I ain't mad if you give him man of the match, all right? Palmer and Neto just start cooking, and then the game is changed, all right? Then, of course, they give 7 minutes. So I'm nervous. And I'm like, okay, there was the offsides check a couple times. All right, we had some things to look at. So I'm like, all right, that makes a little bit of sense. But then I'm getting nervous, right? Because in those 7 minutes, with about 2 minutes left, I'd say Tosin, whatever you want to call him. His mom would call him Tosin, all right? But with the match-saving block, our center back, with just a couple minutes left. And let's face it, that's going in if he doesn't make that block. So if the Hammers had fought back to a draw in this game and we just gotten a point instead of 3, we'd be feeling sick and deflated, wouldn't we? Wouldn't draw. Nah, I ain't good enough. I ain't good with that. Because right now, we back in the top 4, baby. That's right, with the 3 points and a victory. 2 points ahead of City, who, of course, got demolished over the weekend. Things just worked out for us. Jorgensen gives no heart attacks. He'll be in the pipes again our next game. And before I get to the next game and what's coming up, let's take a look at some match ratings. So some of the best performers, according to the stats, Cole Palmer, man of the match with a 7.9 rating. And coming in high are our backs, right? Cucurella got a 7.6 and Reese James with a 7.7. And Reese would have been higher if not for the yellow, of course. Now, our defensive mids, double pivots of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez rated well. Got a 7.5 and a 7.6 respectively. And then Neto off the bench. I'm not mad if you want to say he's man of the match. He got a 7.6. Had he started and played that way the whole game, of course, he'd be up in the 8s. He'd clearly be man of the match. But for me, man of the match, Enzo Maresca, okay? Making the substitutions early in the 51st minute, like I said, change the game and not waiting until it's just too late. We're just scrambling desperation. So I know you can't give a manager man of the match, but damn it, I'm going to give him one. And the worst player, no surprise here, Nicholas Jackson, 6.3, just invisible. And what do we have to turn to, though? Mark Hughes only 19 with no Premier League goals, like I said. He might be injured as well. And Guku doesn't play well up front. We didn't address it. We probably tried to, but didn't want to get hung out and overpay for a striker. But we have no choice but to go back to Nicholas Jackson. Now, if it's a big if my man Mark Hughes is healthy, I'm starting him. Let him press, let him hustle in the Premier League. I don't care. But what is next for Chelsea? We've got to double up 2 games versus Brighton coming up. The FA Cup on Saturday. And if healthy, that's a good place to start. Mark Hughes, wouldn't you say? And then, of course, we've got Brighton once again in the Prem on Valentine's Day, February the 14th. So 2 games with Brighton coming up, a team we know well and who we've ransacked with all their damn we got all their personnel and assistants on the Chelsea. Remember, we were like wanting to be Brighton Junior for a little while. Damn. Potter, everybody. But that's what it is, y'all. Happy times. We'll see. We'll react to the transfers made and not made. Well, Chelsea didn't bring anyone in, really, but what another teenage project that probably won't play for us. But, we'll see. Of course, some guys going out on loan. Chilwell on loan. Man, let that man live. Just let him go permanently. Disasi, who I mentioned earlier, on loan. Joao Felix. Some were surprised. I wasn't. Like I said in the previous pod, he wants to play. Doesn't have that much of a spot here. But, hey, it's 3 points for Chelsea. I'm happy. You're happy. Back in the top 4, where we should be. As always, Raj Groves, believe in Chelsea FC. Let's get it, Blues.